Hello everyone and welcome back to Growing with TJ. Today I want to talk about pests. I'm going to talk about the pests that I am seeing in my garden, and there is probably about 4 or 5 that I've been fighting now for a little bit. That is the tomato hornworm, which just showed up, the squash bug, been keeping an eye out on the vine borer, have not seen that yet, and the cucumber beetle and the Japanese beetle. So I'm going to go through, show you some damage that they do, and kind of tell you what I am doing to combat all these pests that are in the garden. Now, one thing I want to say is I have a lot of lightning bugs or fireflies, whatever you call it in your area, and they have really taken over the garden, and they find this as a safe place. So I am really trying not to spray anything if I don't have to. If I do spray, I do use organic sprays, but again, it's still a spray. So, that is completely up to you if you want to try and knock them all out with the spray. For me, I am kind of just hand picking and keeping an eye on them and trying to keep on top of it so that I do not have to spray. So let's get into it and show you these pests and how I am fighting them off. So like I was mentioning before, as you can see, I have a lot of lightning bugs in my garden this year, more than I've ever seen in the past. And as you know, they are, they're in trouble. The numbers are declining from what the research says. So I'm really trying not to spray anything in the garden. I'm going to try and do this one-handed, but the first pest I want to talk about is the squash bug. Might be hard to see, but hopefully I can find some for you. What I like to do is, I look around the plant. If I don't see any, that's okay. What I'm going to do is when I water, I'm going to water at the base like this, because a lot of times squash bugs want to be down here if you got any mulch or straw laying down. So I'll water, like I'm normally watering. This is a white scallop squash. And then you can sit here, I'll come back because they might take a little bit to pop up. But they will start climbing up from the bottom, and you'll see them in here because they want to get away from the water. They don't like the water on them. So we'll come back, and if we see any that are popping up. Another thing I want to mention is, I don't know if you can see that right there. You want to inspect the underside of your leaves because you're going to see eggs being laid. I want to say that is the cucumber beetle eggs, but you'll see some other ones, I'm sure. But flip them over and really inspect, and I do this quite often. If you can keep them from hatching, you're gonna have a good shot at beating them. All right, let's come over here and see if we see anything coming up. I don't quite yet. I've been doing a really good job of picking them off, so there's not a huge numbers this year, which is very lucky. Sorry about the shadow. The sun's starting to pop out. Let's flip over a couple more. Some damage there. I'm not seeing too much, which is good. One thing, I'm growing this vertically right here, so it is a little bit easier as the plant grows to see under your leaves. So I'm not seeing any to show you guys right now, but I'll keep looking. If I find them, I'll get them on camera so you know what they look like. Let's look at this beautiful bloom. See all that pollen in there? And see if we got any. Right there's the white scallop squash or zucchini. Again, sorry for the lighting, but as you can see, you look here, get that out of there because that did not get pollinated. I had to cut off all these leaves. They all died, but the new growth is okay. So I don't know if that's a cucumber beetle infecting the plant. But look down here, the vine borer is going to lay their larvae in here, and you'd see kind of like a white, yellowy pus kind of, and I do not see that on this plant, so I'm not sure what happened to it, but I cut off all the dead leaves, and then I'm going to let it go, because you can see this new growth looks okay, so I'm not sure what happened with that. So for the squash bug, just remember, water at the base, you're going to see them pop up on your stem. You can take them off, put them in soapy water, get rid of them. And also, you want to inspect squash bug, cucumber beetle, whatever the case is. You want to look on the undersides of the leaves, and you want to get rid of these eggs. I usually squish them. You can use tape to pull them off, or you can burn them with a little torch, whatever you want to do, but you want to make sure that you get rid of them. Don't hurt the lightning bugs. All right, guys, I hope you can see that. But right here, you see it moving? That is the squash bug. And obviously, you can see they are mating. See that right there? So that is the squash bug. And what I do with them is I just pick them up, put them in soapy water, or I squash them. Some people would say that they attract more if you squash them. Some people say it sends off a pheromone that tells them to stay away. So it's up to you. What I do is put them in soapy water, so I don't have to worry about that at all. But that is the squash bug. You can see they're pretty easy to catch. If they come up the stem, they're very easy to grab and put in soapy water. So that is the squash bug. You want to look out for that. They will absolutely do some damage. They also lay eggs on the underside of the leaves, like I was saying, and they can hatch in 5 to 10 days. So you got to constantly be looking, because if you have some that hatch, they can really, a ton of them will hatch, and then you'll have a lot of issues going forward. The squash bug. All right, another pest I want to talk to you guys about is the Japanese beetle. Now you can see, get my shadow out of here, they will eat the leaves, and you'll start seeing it look like that. Here's a good sign as well that they're around. Now, I did spray beneficial nematodes 2 times in the early spring, and I'm believing that that is helping a little bit, because I'm seeing far less numbers of Japanese beetles. So hopefully that is the case. I knew it was not going to get rid of them completely, but if I spray again next year and keep doing that, maybe I can knock down the numbers to where it's manageable. This year, you can see they have done some damage, but I have really been picking them off. And how I like to do it is I like to get a thing of soapy water like this, and I just push them in there. The best time to do it is in the evening or early morning, because they're less active. When the sun is out and the temperatures are warmer, they are really going to be flying around. They're a little tougher to catch, but out of all the pests, it's pretty easy to knock them into a thing of soapy water. So, I just knocked them off. You're not going to get to see that guy. But you can see they're moving around more now. See if I can find another one for you guys. There's a beetle as well. That is not a Japanese beetle, though. So it's a good sign that I'm not seeing many, There's one there. There we go. I got them on the ground, so let's see if I can Show you there. There's a Japanese beetle right there. Let me put him on my hand. Hold on. All right, so that's the Japanese beetle. Like I said, put them in soapy water and get rid of them. You really want to take them out, so before they lay their eggs, they're gonna come out, you know, they usually come out July for me. They'll be around for like a month. There's another one. And then they will eat, then they'll mate, and then they'll lay their eggs under the soil. They're overwinter, and then they'll come back out during, you know, in the summer. So I'm seeing quite a few now. There's another one. So I'm going to put the camera down, and I'm going to take care of those real quick. But that is one way you can take care of them. Just hand pick them. Again, if you wanted to spray, you can spray something. I'm not going to really recommend spraying or what to spray because I don't do that often. But I imagine any of the normal sprays would help you with that. All right, guys, another pest that you need to keep a lookout if you are planting tomatoes like I am here is the tomato hornworm. Now let me show you some obvious damage. See how that's looking? Come over here, back there. The leaves are being eaten by something. Right here, look at that. Another thing you can look for is this. That is the hornworm poop. So they literally will just eat everything on your tomato plant, and they can absolutely destroy it if you do not catch them. And they just poop. So you're going to find poop everywhere. You're going to see damage like that. Now you can spray BT. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Unfortunately, I am going away for a week. So I was hoping that they would not show up till I got back. And in the past, the last couple of years, I've had great help from the parasitic wasp, which they lay their eggs on them and they will kill them for you. I'm not seeing that this year. So let's kind of look in here, see where the hornworm is. Up there he is. That is the tomato hornworm. Look how big that thing is. Like I said, they will demolish your tomato plant. So all week I'll be over here checking out, making sure I'll really get control of this. Caught one of them earlier. Let me show you that. So yeah, definitely be on the lookout. You want to be seeing where the leaves are getting destroyed. You want to look for their poop, but you will find it because they poop a lot. And they can be hard to see. Obviously, they're green. They blend in pretty well, especially if you got a lot of foliage. So you really got to search. One thing you can do is come over at night and use a black light, and they will glow, and they'll be a little easier to see. But really, just keep an eye out because they will destroy a plant. You can see they must have just came in not too long ago because they're starting to get some damage right here. But it's not too bad yet. So you absolutely want to get rid of these guys. And like I said, BT can help, but my choice of method is just to pick them off, find them and pick them off. All right, guys, just want to give you a little closer look at the tomato hornworm. You can see they got a little horn on the top of their head. And they are some big guys. They will devour your tomato plant very quickly. So please keep an eye out for them. And, you know, I will be ending their lives. Apparently chickens like them. If you have chickens, you can feed them to the chickens. But for me, I just have to kill them and get them out of here. You can see how big they are, and they grow from eating all your foliage. All right, guys, I know it might be tough to see, but that is the cucumber beetle. And they can really take down your plants, cucumber, squash. They carry some type of bacteria that can get in on your plant and kill it. Also can spread to other plants in your garden. If you can see up there, I know it's not the greatest view, but there's another one right there. So yes, they are a lot harder to catch. They're pretty quick. So I can't really get them in soapy water, but what I do is just try and squish them. Late evening, they're a lot easier to kill, but when the sun is up, they are quite challenging to catch. So again, I am just going to continue to look for them, kill them, look under the leaves for eggs, and try and take care of them that way. Worst case, I have a real bad outbreak, I will have to spray something. I know the sun's not helping here, but you can see, hopefully you can see that down below that I was having a little damage from them. Not a great view, I'm sorry. But all the stuff up top looks really good and healthy, so I'm doing a good job of controlling them. And you just kind of have to keep up on it and keep your eyes open, and you will be able to fight off the cucumber beetles. Eventually, your plants might fall victim to them, but that's why you want to continually to plant another wave. You can see they're getting to these guys too. But the thought is, eventually, cucumber beetle will go away, and then you'll be able to get more cucumbers. Now, in a little bit here, I will plant another wave right here, and keep planting waves. And if you see your cucumbers are struggling, they're not looking good, there's really no point in trying to keep them alive. You know, at this point in time, in early July, you can just pop in some more seeds and they will grow extremely quick. So instead of trying to keep a sick plant alive, just pop in some more seeds and start over. You got plenty of time for cucumbers, at least where I am in zone 7A, Pennsylvania. So just keep that in mind. If your cucumbers are struggling, just go ahead and pop in some more seeds. All right, guys, so there you have it. That is the pest that I am dealing with right now. You got the cucumber beetle, the squash bug, Japanese beetle, and the tomato hornworm. But all four of them can really do damage to your plants. So the key takeaway I'll have for you guys is you got to keep observing your plants, constantly looking for damage, and trying to find any pests that you can see. You know, some of them are easier to find than others. Tomato hornworm, very difficult to find, but very easy to know that they are there because you'll see all the foliage being, you know, destroyed by them. Cucumber beetles, they're pretty obvious to see, but they are a lot tougher to catch. They're pretty quick, and, you know, it's just harder to catch them. You kind of have to squish them because you're not going to be able to get them into soapy water. They're too quick. Now, late evening, they are a lot easier to catch. They kind of slow down. Japanese beetles, you know, they will destroy, especially raspberry, do a lot of damage. When it's about this time, you know, late morning, early afternoon, the sun's out, they're a lot quicker, they're more active. So they're going to be harder to get into soapy water at that point. But early morning, you know, late evening, they don't move much and they're very easy to catch. And when it comes to the squash bugs, they're not too difficult to find. However, you know, they can be a little bit of a challenge. But like I said, if you water the base of your plants, they don't like that and they will come up and they'll be very visible to you. And you can either squash them, put them in the soapy water. And with the squash bugs and the cucumber beetles, please make sure you're looking underneath the leaves, on the underside of the leaves, for any eggs. And you want to either squish them, burn them, use some tape, get them off, destroy them. Even if that leaf, you could take the leaf off and destroy the whole leaf, whatever it takes. But you constantly, every day, you want to be looking under your leaves for any eggs. You know, a lot of them, they'll hatch in 5 to 10 days, and it's not like 1 or 2 hatches. I mean, you're going to have a lot of them hatch, and the next you know, you have you're getting taken over by the squash bug or the cucumber beetle. So the main takeaway is to continue to look and observe your plants. Again, if you want to spray something, that is completely up to you. You know, worst case, I will spray an organic spray, but like I said, it is still a chemical. And if you're going for a no chemical garden, then that will not work for you. So for me, I'm going to try and hand pick them, control them that way. Worst case, I might spray an organic spray just to save my plants. But if not, I'm just going to continue to observe, pick them off, and try and keep up with the pests. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. I hope you're having good luck in the garden, controlling your pests and any disease that are coming in. We know as a gardener, that is, you know, one of the worst things, you know, weeds, pests, and disease. So just keep up on it, keep your eyes open, constantly get out there, you know, walk around, observe, and you will be able to keep control of the pest as good as possible. And if the zucchini, cucumbers, if they fall prey to the pest and they die, just remember you got plenty of time, early July, pop in some seeds. They're going to grow super quick. They're going to germinate quick with this heat, and you'll be able to get another harvest and hopefully beat the cycle of the squash bug or the cucumber beetle. Please subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.